My dominant CEO husband has always longed for his white moonlight, but in truth, that white moonlight girl is just a two-faced fake sweetheart. Worse, she's been scheming to sabotage me, his legitimate, lawfully wedded wife. But what no one could have predicted was that yesterday, my domineering CEO husband and I accidentally switched bodies. And now, all those sneaky little traps that Miss White Moonlight used to aim at me are landing squarely on his powerful shoulders. One day, Miss White Moonlight, let's call her Haley, walked up to me holding a bottle of water, fluttering her lashes and whining, "Trent, I can't open this bottle. Can you help me?" I, in his body, deadpanned, "Excuse me? You trying to flirt with me or start a fight? Throw that bottle away before I unscrew your skull cap instead." Haley just stood there, completely dumbfounded, and my husband, stuck in my body, secretly held up a hand in a tiny victory sign behind her back. That's how this all started. It began last night when I forgot to bring my blanket to bed. I called out to Trent Carter, that's my husband, and asked him to grab one for me. He walked in distracted, still scrolling his phone, and didn't see the wet floor. He slipped and landed in the bathtub, right on top of me. It was, an intimate moment. When we got up, we realized we had swapped souls. He was now me, and I was him. Trent freaked out, shouting to switch back immediately. We tried everything. Nothing worked. Eventually, we guessed the body swap must have happened during a thunderstorm. Maybe we'd need another lightning strike to reverse it. To avoid getting exposed, we drafted a pact. Whatever happens at work, don't blow our cover. If something comes up, report immediately. After a long, exhausting day pretending to be each other, trouble struck. Twice. First, my mother-in-law called us home for dinner. Second, Haley, Trent's ex who had been living abroad, came back and would be joining us. Trent, now in my body, was equal parts thrilled and panicked, because he was supposed to be me and I was him. He nearly short-circuited. The moment we walked into the house, there was Haley, playing perfect little housewife in the kitchen, like she owned the place. My mother-in-law took one look at me and immediately threw shade. Look at Haley, already helping out around here like a good girl, unlike some people who just sit around waiting to be served. I forced a smile, elbowed Trent in the ribs, and muttered, "You hearing this? Get in there and help, would you?" Trent reluctantly dragged himself into the kitchen. Less than a minute later, a blood-curdling scream echoed out from inside. My mother-in-law and I rushed into the kitchen. There, Haley was clutching her arm, face twisted in pain, while Trent looked completely flustered and panicked. "What happened?" my mother-in-law demanded. Before Trent could get a word out, Haley quickly chimed in. "It's nothing serious, Mrs. Carter. It wasn't her fault. It was me being careless." Trent nodded along in agreement, but my mother-in-law wasn't having it. "Just look at you," she scolded. "Can't even help out a little without causing a mess. What are your hands and feet even for?" Trent, still in my body, was at a loss and tried to explain. "It wasn't my fault. She was handing me a plate and suddenly let go halfway. It slipped and spilled boiling water on her hand." But Haley immediately burst into tears, her eyes brimming. "It was my fault, really. I was clumsy. I can't blame her." My mother-in-law stared coldly at Trent. "You're the host. She's a guest, and you dare blame her?" She helped Haley to her feet, then turned back. "Don't touch anything else, dear. Let Tutu clean it up." Trent's expression darkened. He was livid, but he had no choice. He was stuck doing kitchen chores, being scolded and endlessly compared to the perfect Haley. Meanwhile, Haley kept slyly stabbing at him with her little passive-aggressive remarks all dinner long. Trent looked like a broken man by the end of the meal. Later, I stepped out to the backyard to take a call and overheard a conversation. Haley was talking to me. "It's only because I left for overseas that you got the chance to worm your way in and marry Trent. Now that I'm back, you should know your place and step aside. You don't deserve to be Mrs. Carter." Trent, but still in my body, clenched his fists and smiled coldly. "Who told you Tutu is just a placeholder?" Unfazed, Haley replied, "Trent did. He told me he still can't forget me." Trent looked at me as if he'd seen a ghost. He quickly clasped his hands in front of him in mock prayer. "Ha, hoo, toot, I'm warning you, don't be weird." I rested my chin on my hand and laughed playfully. "Why not? Don't you want to know what it feels like to be a woman?" Trent slipped out of my hold and said coldly, "No, I don't. I'd rather die than suffer that humiliation. I'm a real man." I shrugged. "All right then, a real man." With that, I stood up, buttoned my shirt calmly, and walked toward the door. Seeing me leave, Trent's voice softened. "Tutu, where are you going?" I looked over my shoulder and smiled. "Did you forget? Haley said she's pregnant. She asked me to stay with her tonight." Trent stood barefoot at the door, silent. I patted his shoulder gently. "Relax. I'll be back soon." Then I walked toward Haley's room. Trent stood frozen in the doorway, silently watching my back, and tears began falling from his eyes. His sobs were so loud that Mom Carter stormed into the room. "What on earth are you bawling about in the middle of the night, Hoo Tutu?" she barked. Trent sniffled. "Mom, Trent kicked me out and made me go stay with Haley." Mom Carter sneered. "Oh, that's it?" I thought something serious had happened. "So what if he's living with her? Haley's a guest. Trent's the man of the house. What's wrong with that? A woman needs to be more gracious, more tolerant. That's how a marriage lasts. Got it? Now stop making a scene and go to bed," Trent cried into the air, but no one responded. All he could do was slam the door shut. Meanwhile, I walked straight to Haley's room. When I reached her door and was about to knock, I noticed it wasn't locked. I gave it a gentle push. It opened immediately. The room was dimly lit. Haley was lying on the bed, wearing a thin, silky nightgown that barely reached her thighs. Her long legs were stretched out seductively. Honestly, it wasn't just men. Even I, as a woman, couldn't look away. The moment she saw me, Haley got up and threw herself into my arms. I could have stepped back, but instead, I reached out, allowing her soft, fragrant body to fall against my chest. Wrapping my arms around her slender waist, I thought to myself, being a man? It's surprisingly easy. Compared to those rough, crude men, wasn't someone plain-looking like me still better? As much as I hated Haley and loathed her constant passive-aggressive remarks, when all her attention was focused solely on me, somehow that hatred began to fade. When she caught me looking at her, Haley blushed and mumbled shyly, "Trent, why are you looking at me like that?" I pinched her waist and replied, "Because today, you're genuinely attractive." Her face turned an even deeper shade of red. Watching her flustered like that, I couldn't help but think, what a dangerous woman. And oops, I said that thought out loud. Right then, thunder rumbled loudly outside. Haley tightened her arms around me. I frowned. She really was something. Even as she leaned into me for comfort, she deliberately showcased every curve of her seductive body. Honestly, forget men. Even I, as a woman, couldn't resist her in that moment. "Trent," she whispered, "could you stay with me tonight? I'm scared." Just as I was about to answer, the door burst open. We turned to see me, or rather, Trent in my body, standing in the doorway, gritting his teeth. "Trent Carter," he barked. "There's a storm outside." I nodded casually. "I know. Haley's scared of thunder. She asked me to stay." Trent stormed toward us and grabbed my arm. "I'm scared of thunder too," he said softly. "I'm your wife. You should come back to our room." He kept emphasizing the word thunder, clearly hinting at wanting to switch bodies back. But seriously, being a man was this fun? Why would I give it up? So I said, "Oh? You're scared? Then how about this? Go sleep in your mom's room. That'll make you feel safe, won't it?" I glanced at Haley. Her eyes lit up, clearly thrilled. Trent clenched his jaw, kicked the door, and stormed off. Once he was gone, I turned to Haley. Didn't you say you hated sleeping alone? Well, here I am. Let's sleep. Haley looked stunned for a moment, then her face lit up with hope. Really? Right now? I raised a brow. Yes, right now, I'll sleep in the bed. You, on the floor. I was gripping Trent's hand tightly, afraid to touch him again. But then, out of nowhere, he slipped, and his entire body crashed into my shoulder. For a brief moment, staring into that stunningly handsome face, I felt my heart waver. Just when I thought I might finally get to experience what it felt like to be a man. Breakfast is ready. My mother-in-law's voice cut through the mood like a knife. It's already late. Don't be late for work. I swallowed my frustration and let go of Trent's waist. After breakfast, we got in the car. The chauffeur would first drop Trent, still in my body, off at my office, then take me, in his body, to his company. As soon as I arrived, the assistant informed me, "Sir, a very important client is here to see you." I took the documents and froze at the picture. A middle-aged man with a stern face and a shiny bald head. I heard whispers that this project was huge, worth hundreds of millions. I stared at the thick folder in my hands, fingers trembling. I was just a regular office employee. This was way out of my league. As soon as the assistant stepped away, I called Trent. There he was, pretending to be me, dressed plainly, blending in like a typical office worker. He looked flustered when he picked up. "What is it?" "I'm kinda busy." I quickly filled him in on the massive project. Trent immediately began giving me instructions, explaining how to handle the negotiation. He even told me to pass the phone to the assistant for coordination. Although the assistant looked a bit suspicious, he didn't question me too much. Thanks to Trent's guidance and a bit of help from the team, I actually secured the deal. It was only then I realized being a CEO wasn't just about drinking coffee and flipping through newspapers like I'd imagined. Trent's composure, his precision, the icy decisiveness during negotiations, it was kind of attractive. After closing a deal worth tens of millions, I figured I deserved a little reward. Once home, I tore off the shirt and tie, changed into a sleek, trendy outfit I'd just bought. Trent looked me up and down, then muttered dryly, "Too much." I laughed while styling my hair. "This is the latest fashion, thank you very much. If it looks bad, maybe it's just your face." Trent narrowed his eyes. Was he trying to outwit me? Please. As I strutted toward the door, he stepped in my way, frowning. "It's late. Where do you think you're going?" I draped an arm around his shoulder and smirked. "Just out. I closed your big deal today. I'm treating myself." Trent gritted his teeth and slammed a hand against the door. "You are not going to places like that." I gave a cold chuckle, said nothing, and without hesitation, threw him over my shoulder and tossed him onto the bed. Leaning down, I cupped his chin. "Where I go isn't up to you anymore." Faced with my newfound physical advantage, Trent could only grit his teeth and cave. Still holding my hand, he muttered, "Fine, go ahead, but you're taking me with you." To be honest, ever since marrying Trent Carter, I hadn't stepped foot in a bar for 2 whole years. Before that, I used to be the queen of places like this. I gave him a once-over, smirked, and nodded. "All right, let's go together." 30 minutes later, Trent finally finished getting dressed. When I saw him all buttoned up, covered head to toe like a walking blanket, I burst out laughing. "Trent, are we going to a bar or a church service?" Trent shot me a glare. "You're gorgeous. Bars are full of all kinds of people. I'm protecting you. Get it?" I grinned. "I get it. So that's why you never let me go to bars before." "Well, don't worry now," I added, adjusting my collar confidently. "I'm a man now. No one's taking advantage of me tonight." And with that, we were off. The moment I stepped into the bar, the atmosphere swept over me, the familiar scent, the beat of the music, the pulsing lights. It was all still so intoxicating. I plopped down on a random seat and motioned for Trent to join me, then made a beeline straight for the dance pole. Back when I was younger, I used to be harassed by sleazy men at clubs. But now, total role reversal. I was swarmed by a crowd of sexy girls. They all gathered around me, calling me Big Bro, asking to buy me drinks and play party games. Their teasing voices rang in my ears, and my head began to spin from all the attention. Before I knew it, I was backed into a corner. A bombshell in a tight dress came up with a massive cocktail glass, leaned in close, and said, "Hey, handsome, this one's for you. Finish it, and I'm yours tonight." Another girl chimed in, "I've got one too. Don't drink, and you're disrespecting me." Just as I was about to take the glass, Trent, who I hadn't even noticed approach, was suddenly right beside me, his face dark as night. Before I could react, he snatched the drink from my hand. "Drink? What drink?" he snapped. "You think you can hold your liquor? You'll throw up after one glass, don't kid yourself." The girls around us blinked in confusion. One of them asked boldly, who's she supposed to be?" Without thinking, I pointed at Trent and said, "Her? She's my little sister. First time at a bar, doesn't know the rules. Just ignore her." Trent's face turned the color of molten lava. Meanwhile, I just kept chatting with the ladies, ignoring his fury. Even though I used to drink well, Trent's body clearly couldn't handle alcohol, so I decided to sit this one out and stay sober. As I was laughing with a group of girls, I suddenly spotted a familiar face across the room. Sitting opposite of Trent was Matthew Harris, my old college crush. Of all places, a bar, at this moment, in this body. And he was right there. The irony nearly made me choke. I made some excuse about feeling tired and slipped away from the crowd, making my way toward the two men. Matthew looked just as handsome as ever, his hair neatly styled, his suit crisp, and everything about him radiated refined elegance. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded handkerchief, handing it to Trent. "Here," he said gently, "wipe your face." Trent gave him a cold stare and refused to take it. "Tutu, why are you even in a place like this?" Matthew Harris looked genuinely puzzled. Before I could say anything, Trent, wearing my face, jumped in without hesitation. "Because I wanted to. Got a problem with that?" My heart skipped a beat. If I let the conversation go any further, things might spiral. I quickly stepped in, smiling diplomatically. "Oh, Mr. Harris, what a coincidence. I just closed a huge deal today, so I brought my wife out to celebrate." Trent sneered at me, but then, as if a light bulb went off in his head, quickly added, "Yeah, my husband got so excited he dragged me here for fun. Problem?" He turned to Matthew, voice laced with mockery. "But isn't it funny, Mr. Harris? Someone as uptight as you, in a place like this? I thought people only came here looking for companionship." Matthew flushed instantly. No, that's not why I wasn't." I tried to smooth things over. "Come on, Mr. Harris, since we've run into each other, why not share a drink?" Matthew blinked in confusion. "A drink? You and me?" Trent let out a cold laugh. "What are you thinking, Mr. Harris? Whether you're drinking with him or me, it's the same." Matthew was clearly flustered. No, I didn't mean it that way." Before he could finish, Trent picked up a full glass of alcohol and splashed it right in Matthew's face. I gasped. "Are you insane?" Trent looked momentarily embarrassed. He grabbed a napkin, awkwardly trying to wipe Matthew's face while mumbling, Sorry, so sorry, Mr. Harris. I didn't mean it. You won't take it personally, right?" Matthew's face darkened like a thundercloud, but he still forced a stiff smile. "It's fine." Trent beamed. "How about a real drink then? Let's celebrate." Matthew flinched and quickly stepped back. "No need. Really, I was just passing by. I should probably head out." Watching him walk away, clearly exhausted and uncomfortable, I grabbed Trent by the wrist. "What the hell was that?" Trent stared at me and replied bluntly, "I want to go home." Back at the house, everything exploded. Trent collapsed onto the couch, voice icy. "Don't think I don't know you're mad at me. You're pissed I scared off your college dream guy, aren't you?" My heart pounded. "How did you know he was—" Trent glared. "Not hard to figure out. You've mentioned him more than anyone else. I was curious, so I had someone look into it." I fumed. "You investigated me?" "So what if I did?" he shot back. You had your precious first love. I had my past. If I'm allowed to have a white moonlight, you're allowed to have someone who used to chase you. I stepped forward, pointing a finger at his chest. Listen, Trent Carter, don't think for a second I'm someone no one else would want. Realizing he crossed a line, Trent softened. He stepped forward, gently took my arm and whispered, Okay, don't be mad. We're married, right? Let's not fight. But I brushed him off. By day 3 of our Cold War, his mother showed up and brought Haley along with her. The moment they walked in, they both sensed something was off. Unlike Haley's usual soft-spoken demeanor, Trent's mom immediately started nagging. Some people marry into the Carter family and think they're the lady of the house. So arrogant, they don't even remember who they are anymore. I'm just saying it straight, I snapped. If I'm not good enough to be the Carter family's daughter-in-law, then just kick me out. Don't make everyone live in misery. Trent, who had been lounging on the sofa watching TV, suddenly perked up. He'd just realized his mother's passive-aggressive jabs were aimed at him, in my body. What did you just say, Mom? Are you asking me to get divorced? His mother shot him a glare and scoffed. Those words came out of your mouth. Don't twist mine. Haley, ever the peacemaker, tried to smooth things over. Mrs. Carter, please don't be upset. Every couple fights sometimes. It's perfectly normal. Then she turned to me with those soft, saccharine eyes. Right, Trent? Don't be mad at Tutu, okay? I couldn't take it anymore. Would you stop calling me and her by our names like you're reading from a script? Tutu's younger than you. When you talk like that, it sounds like you're implying she's some aging hag. Haley's smile froze. Right then, Trent's mom turned to me. Tutu, can't you see we have a guest in the house? Go out and buy groceries. Prepare dinner. We should show proper hospitality. I tightened my grip on Trent's hand and faced her. There's already a maid who handles the cooking. Plus, the fridge is full. Trent and I have something important to discuss. Please excuse us. Without waiting for a reply, I pulled Trent upstairs. As soon as the door clicked half shut, Trent turned to me, eyes full of gratitude. Tutu, thank you. You saved my life just now. I didn't say a word. He reached out, gently clasped my hand, voice choked with emotion. I'm sorry, Tutu. It wasn't until I became you that I realized everything you've endured. What Mom has put you through these past 2 years. You've suffered so much. Too little, too late. I shook his hand off. I'm thankful too, I said coldly. For more than 2 years, you've kept thinking about your white moonlight. Well, now's your chance. Go be with her. Trent Carter, let's divorce. Go find your precious Haley. Love her till the end of time if that's what you want. Trent's face paled. He grabbed my hand again. No, Tutu, you've got it all wrong. I've never been hung up on Haley. There's no white moonlight. I narrowed my eyes. Oh, really? Then what was all that with Haley? He sighed in defeat. I got jealous. When I found out you used to have a crush on that upperclassman, I got angry, so I kept bringing up Haley on purpose. I stared at him, unmoved. Then how do you explain what your mom said? That there was an engagement between you and Haley? That's just gossip, he said, jaw tight. A joke my grandfather made to hers, nothing more. Tutu, I swear, you're the only one I've ever truly wanted to be with. I scoffed, avoiding his eyes. Sounds romantic. Makes me want to throw up. He fell silent. Then, quietly, Trent said, If it'll make things right, then let me fulfill your wish today. Consider it my apology. My lips curled into a smirk. Really? But before Trent could reply, bang! 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 Someone started pounding violently on the door. Dinner's ready. Come down now, came Mrs. Carter's voice from downstairs. I glanced over at Trent, gripping his wrist. You meant what you said earlier, right? His cheeks turned red. Yeah, I meant it. We walked downstairs together. The maid had already laid out a full table of all my favorite dishes. But the moment I sat down, Haley leaned over with her chopsticks and started piling food into my bowl. Trent, this is your favorite, right? Come on, try it. It's really good. I hadn't even reacted when Trent, still in my body, spoke up. What are you, a chicken about to lay an egg? Haley's eyes welled up with tears on the spot. Mrs. Carter turned sharply to me. Tutu, is that how you treat guests? Raised in the slums? No manners at all. I spoke up, voice calm but sharp. Could you please be quiet for once? She blinked in shock. Trent, what did you just say? I set my chopsticks down, stared at her coldly. Mom, I love Tutu. She is, and always will be, my one and only wife. The way you treat her. Are you saying any guest who makes her suffer is welcome here? Don't you think your daughter-in-law has feelings too? Mrs. Carter stood there, stunned, looking between me and Trent, completely speechless. I turned to Haley next. You're beautiful, rich. You can have any man you want. Why stoop so low as to be the other woman? Haley looked stunned. I picked up the food she'd dropped into my bowl and calmly returned it to her plate. Sorry, I don't like these dishes. And more importantly, my wife doesn't like you. If you have any dignity, don't come back to our house again. Tears spilled down Haley's face. She stood up abruptly and ran out. Trent practically danced his way to the door, waving gleefully after her. Take care, no need to come back. Goodbye, forever. That night, I ate my dinner with satisfaction. Mrs. Carter finished her meal in silence and quietly left the table. Once she was gone, I asked Trent at the door, Hey, about what you said earlier, do you still mean it? He gave me a side glance, face stiff. Of course I do. I'm a man. I keep my word. I grinned and suddenly picked him up bridal style. In that case, let's do it now. He yelped in panic. No. Didn't you hear me say I don't feel well after eating? It's been 3 days, yes, but we just had dinner. Let's go for a walk first. I narrowed my eyes at him. A walk? Seriously? He nodded eagerly. Yes, walk first, then we talk. So, like two kids with nowhere better to go, we started walking loops around the mansion. 1 circle, 2, 3, until the sky turned completely dark. Finally, I pulled him back inside. As soon as the bedroom door clicked shut, I wrapped my arms around his waist. Face bright red, Trent stammered. Let me take a shower first, just wait here, okay? I laughed. Oh? Sure, go ahead. That night, I was finally satisfied. The next morning, neither of us could get out of bed to go to work. I lay on the edge of the mattress, watching Trent passed out beside me, and I couldn't help but smile to myself. It honestly felt like a dream, one so blissful it bordered on madness. Over a month of happiness had quietly passed. Then one night, as we lay in bed together, thunder suddenly rolled outside. Trent shot up from his deep sleep, eyes wide. It's thunder. Babe, it's thunder. Maybe this is it. Maybe we can finally switch back. My head spun. Looking out the window, I watched as lightning cracked through the sky. I whispered to the heavens, Seriously? Just when things were finally good? Can't I have a little more time? Trent was already in the bathroom, filling up the tub like before. Come on, he called. Hurry! I followed, tripped dramatically, and fell into the tub, brushing against him like last time. We closed our eyes. When we opened them, he was still him, and I was still me. I couldn't help but laugh. Maybe we're stuck like this forever. Trent sat in silence, nearly on the verge of tears. I cupped his face gently and said, Don't cry. Whether you're a man or a woman, I'll protect you for the rest of my life. He didn't speak, lost in thought. I sat quietly beside him, just being there. Then I glanced toward the bathroom trash can, and my mind started to spiral. If I wasn't wrong, Trent's period was over a week late. I leaned in, voice cautious. Hey, have you, noticed anything about your cycle lately? Trent blinked. Now that you mention it, I don't think I've had one. Oh no, my heart skipped. Wait, are you saying you might be pregnant? Trent's face paled. What? What should we do? Is something wrong? Not wanting to scare him, I kept my tone light. No, it's probably nothing. Just a random question. Honestly, it's kind of funny thinking you might have a cycle. But that night, I couldn't sleep. At all. The next morning, I didn't let the driver take him. Instead, I drove us straight to the hospital. The moment we reached the OB/GYN clinic, Trent stiffened. He pulled back from my grip, digging in his heels. Tutu, you seriously brought me to the gynecologist? It's just a late period. Isn't that normal for women? I smiled patiently. Of course, a few days late is totally normal. But, I added sweetly, if it's something like hormonal imbalance, it could cause aging faster. And you wouldn't want that pretty little face of yours turning into grandma mode, right? He looked horrified. No, I wouldn't. But are you really making me go through with this? I nodded reassuringly. Of course, we're just being safe. Better to test everything. Soon, Trent came out of the restroom, holding a pregnancy test stick. The doctor had asked for a urine sample. I nodded seriously. Good job. Now let's see. Trent looked at me with trembling eyes. Tutu, tell me the truth. Am I really pregnant? I stared at him, deadpan. Yes. And if you are, I'll take full responsibility. 10 minutes later, Trent stepped out of the bathroom, holding the pregnancy test in his trembling hand. I didn't even need to look closely. 2 red lines. My heart jumped with joy. I nearly exploded. Trent stared at the test stick, confused. What? What does this mean? I gave him my most dramatic, sorrowful expression. Sweetheart, it looks like you're really pregnant. His knees almost buckled. I rushed over and caught him before he fell. Don't panic, I said gently. This is just a test result. Let's wait for the doctor to confirm. And so we walked into the clinic together. The doctor looked at the results, smiled, and confirmed it. Trent Carter was officially pregnant. I thanked the doctor profusely, then hugged Trent tightly and led him out to the car. I couldn't stop grinning the entire drive. Who would have thought? After switching bodies with my husband, I ended up enjoying all the joys of being a man and totally dodged the pain of pregnancy and childbirth. I turned to him and asked, "So, how are you feeling, babe?" He looked at me like he wanted to scream. I can't believe you're still so calm. To keep him from slipping into prenatal depression, I tried to comfort him. Listen to me. This baby is a blessing, a precious gift from the universe. Maybe the reason we switched bodies in the first place was so you could experience the joy of motherhood. You know how rare that is? Most men don't get that kind of happiness. Trent's eyes glistened with emotion. I could tell my words had moved him. Ever since the pregnancy was announced, Mrs. Carter's attitude toward me had drastically changed. No more harsh scolding, just endless, motherly advice. You have to nourish yourself properly. We need a chubby little Carter heir. This soup, drink it. You don't want the baby lacking nutrients. Eventually, the months flew by. Trent made it through the full 10 months. And I officially became a dad. When they wheeled him into the delivery room, his screams shook the heavens. I paced the hallway anxiously. 2 hours later, a nurse finally rolled him out. There he was, holding our soft, chubby little baby boy. I dropped to my knees and kissed his cheek. Sweetheart, you've been through so much. Trent sighed and said hoarsely, being the wife is exhausting. I immediately hired the top postpartum specialist to take care of him. And finally, after the month-long recovery period, Trent could enjoy a proper warm bath again. I handed him a towel, but just as I turned, my foot landed squarely on a bar of soap. I slipped, spun, and slammed right into him. We tumbled together in a very familiar position, and then everything changed. When I opened my eyes, I blinked. We were back. Our bodies had finally switched again. Trent looked down at his hands, strong, broad, familiar. He flexed his arms, then stared at me in disbelief. before breaking into uncontrollable laughter. He was ecstatic. Me? I was still dazed. "Hey, babe," I said slowly. "Since we're back to normal now, do you mind stepping out for a moment and bringing me that towel again?"